springtime is just about here. It's the 6th or 7th of March right now. And I've let this greenhouse go for the winter. What I mean by that is I was trying to heat it to try to keep it running all through the winter. And we had a little more colder winter than normal here. And I was not able to do that. I shut off the heat entirely about a month ago, maybe a little longer than that. And I was amazed at how warm it stayed in here without extra heat anyway. But it did freeze. It did get below freezing many times. Not really cold. I think the coldest it ever got in here was maybe 20 degrees after I'd shut the heat off. That's Fahrenheit. Now let me show you what survived through the winter and what didn't. One thing I'm going to tell you is that the water that you can hear running in here right now, those are in the grow beds, and that never did freeze, so those stayed flowing all winter. But let me show you something here.
Now looking here at the fish pond, you can see a perimeter of green around the edges there. That's a little mixture of moss or algae and duckweed. Duckweed survived quite nicely during the winter. And if you look up the edge there toward where the waterfall is coming out of that pipe, that's water celery. That survived as well, although it did get cut back a little bit. What didn't survive is something I had growing in there called water lettuce. Now let me show you how that looked here during the summer. Okay, this is last summer, June or July. As you can see, the growth that's surrounding the pipe there, the waterfall, that's water celery, and it really grew quite well. And what you can see out in the water is what's called water lettuce. That used to give me fits because I used to have to scoop it out of there for composting about every week. It was growing that fast, or it would take over. But as you can see, there's none of that left.
Now, every now and then I did water these because they got a little dry. Now, up until a couple of days ago, these actually looked pretty good. They've got some kind of bugs on these. I'm not sure what they are. But it just wilted like this in the last, I guess, 4 or 5 days. But before that, it looked fairly good. Now, these are beets that I planted last fall. And as you can see, they're still growing. They still look healthy. But look how purple the leaves are. Now, notice right in here. See, they're green. And that's because I think that it's warming up a little. See, there's another green one coming out. Now, there's little bugs on them, but you see they're green. The new ones are green. And I think that's because it's warming up. Now, let's go around here. Now, you see this Swiss chard here is, that wintered over. It's still alive, and it's coming up, but it's looking green. Then I have a little bit of celery here. We won't talk too much about that. Well, anyway, but here's something interesting. There's cauliflower. Or not cauliflower. This is broccoli. See, this wintered over, and I planted it, I believe, in the fall sometime, and it grew all through the winter until right now we actually have, see down in there, see that? There's actually some heads starting to form. See that? If I can get that to focus. There's actually some heads starting to form, and they're looking pretty good. So this was during the winter when, you know, a couple of times it got like 20 degrees in here. Here's kale. Kale didn't seem to get harmed at all. Didn't grow very fast, but it stayed right up there. And then over here I've got some, I believe this is cabbage. It's growing, but it didn't like the cold that much. Same thing over here. Cabbage, it's growing, and it looks like it's trying to form a new head here now that it's warming up a little bit. And there's, of course, some peppers and things that are just completely gone. Now, here's a aquaponic kale that I just stuck in here, and see, it's doing quite well. And again, here's some more broccoli over here. The broccoli overwintered quite nicely, but it didn't grow much. But as you can see, now here's another head starting to grow. Now this one's starting to flower out, so I better pick this one or I'm not going to be able to eat it. But see, there's one here, another one here, and there's one here. And so the cabbage, or the broccoli, actually did fairly well. It's just that I'm not getting very big heads off of it. But then, look at my tomato patch. That's completely decimated. And not a plant's alive in there. And I had another set over here. So this is what I expected. I'm going to have to tear that out and plant some new ones. But now my grow bed's here. Now there's nothing in here, but that's all got to be cleaned up. But see, there's some lettuce that's trying to get going again. But there's an onion that's been growing, and see, they're still healthy. And here's a beet plant. Now look at this, how big this is. I don't know if you can see that. But this is just a beet that I stuck in there. But let me lift it up just a little. As you can see, it's kind of misshapen. But it's still growing. And look, the same thing on this one. You see the newer leaves are turning a little bit greener than the other ones. The old ones are nearly purple. That's probably because of the cold. Now, I'm not an expert on that, but that's what I'm thinking. Now, this is an old pepper plant, and of course it's all gone, but the peppers are still there. They're all wilty and runny, no good for anything with seeds right now, but they're still there. And of course, I think these are leeks. I did pull a leek out of here, about a week ago. I think I have a picture of it. A great big one. It was a monster. And it grew all during the winter. So they're not too bad. And then of course I've got celery. That's doing quite well. So basically that's how it went overwintered. And I've still got, I don't know if you can see that down there, but all that mung and stuff that's growing on the bottom of the grow bed. And anyway, so there you have it. And a couple of months ago, about a month ago, this fish pond was absolutely crystal clear. But as you can see, the fish are still alive. They're doing well down there. However, it's not crystal clear anymore. It is fogging up just a little bit. I'm sure that's because of the warming up trend that's happening right now. Well, anyway, that's how it went, overwintering in the greenhouse. And I've got a lot of cleanup to do. And I don't believe I'll try to overwinter in the greenhouse again, except for things like cabbage and broccoli. They don't do that well, but they survive. So that's interesting. But it's time to start planting again and start harvesting and having a lot of fun in the greenhouse. So I hope this was educational and beneficial and whatever, or entertaining. And thanks for watching.